Hello everyone, welcome to the Lightning Ball channel. We will continue our review of Tensura Light Novel Volume 9. In our last episode, we delved deep into the underground labyrinth, and the way the events unfolded, it's as if the author masterfully conveys a feeling reminiscent of a real-life RPG game. Moving on, to address the financial issues of the Monster Federation, Rimuru held a tripartite meeting with King Gazel and the Empress Elmesia. He secured substantial funds and established an alliance with Sarian dynasty. In this episode, we will delve into Rimuru's intellectual battles with merchants. And honestly, this is where the author's storytelling truly shines, managing to make economic negotiations as thrilling as any battle. Let's get started. The day after the founding festival, it was the deadline to repay the merchants. Over 100 merchants from various countries gathered in the main conference room. Rigurdo and Malmal were maintaining order. Rimuru braced himself for this critical moment. However, as soon as he approached the conference room door, he heard a tumultuous debate. Merchants were clamoring for payment and questioned the Monster Federation's credibility. Clearly, they lacked trust in the Monster Federation, fearing that their interests might be harmed. Malmal tried to soothe these retailers, looking somewhat weary. Among them was a significant figure, Duke Muse from the Kingdom of Gustin. Although he seemed unrelated to this event, he was calming the merchants while amicably negotiating with Malmal. Duke Muse discreetly expressed a wish for private talks with Malmal, hinting at a solution to assist the Monster Federation's financial crisis. As a reader, here I can feel the introduction of Duke Muse adds layers of complexity, suggesting deeper intrigues at play. Yet, all of this was within Rimuru's expectations. During the previous tripartite meeting, Empress Elmesia had suggested that many merchants might be swayed by the real instigator behind the scenes. She believed that soon they might offer help to the Monster Federation, infiltrating from within. After all, granting favors was simpler and more effective than intimidation. Please note that, in the book, the foreshadowing here was subtle in the conversation between Rimuru and Elmesia, which really paid off in building suspense. Clearly, Duke Muse was the envoy of this hidden hand. Both Rimuru and Malmal were aware of this, but they decided to play along. Upon hearing Rigurdo's announcement of the arrival of Demon Lord Rimuru, everyone paid their respects. Rimuru, Benimaru, Cheyenne, and Diablo entered the hall. Most attendees sat stiffly in their chairs. Duke Muse stood up gracefully, claiming he was there to mediate due to the potential harm to his nation's merchants. Rimuru inquired about the matter, hinting at its triviality, while Benimaru questioned the merchants' dissatisfaction despite compensation. Duke Muse ostensibly defended the merchants, but beneath the surface, he was subtly angling for opportunities to extend covert assistance to Rimuru, harboring a hidden agenda. Soon, Malmal proposed the merchants accept the Monster Federation's IOUs or in-kind payment. If the merchants stepped back, all would be well. However, if they disrespected the presence of the Demon Lord, Rimuru wouldn't be kind anymore. As expected, the merchants expressed distrust. Seeing this, Muse believed his moment had come. He was confident, being not only a Duke of Gustin but also connected to the powerful Rosso family. The so-called Rosso family was established by the former hero Gran Bel Rosso, acting as the hidden rulers of the Western nations. Very few people in this world dared to defy their commands. The mission to disrupt the Monster Federation's economy was also a directive given by the elders of the Rosso family. They had tasked Muse to do a favor for the Demon Lord Rimuru, aiming to gain Rimuru's trust. Upon successful completion of this mission, Muse would have had the chance to ascend to the pinnacle of the world's hierarchy, becoming one of the 5 elders. Duke Muse was determined to accomplish this mission, even going against Demon Lord Rimuru. He believed he had gained the upper hand. However, sensing the cold stares from Rimuru's entourage, he became slightly anxious. Yet it was too late for him. Rimuru gestured in thanks but declined any assistance. Following Rimuru's command, Geld, the orc, entered with a massive bowl containing 3,000 circulating gold coins collected from Sarian, Dworgen, and other places. Immediately, murmurs erupted in the room. Seeing the gold, Muse's complexion changed, and he hurriedly pointed out the potential damage to the Monster Federation's reputation if the coins were counterfeit. Next to Rimuru, Diablo and Cheyenne displayed faces full of anger. However, Rimuru merely smiled and suggested that if anyone doubted, they could verify it for themselves. Eventually, a merchant stepped forward to validate the coins, and the reporters entered the conference room by the same time. As expected, these gold coins were not only genuine but were also old coins that hadn't circulated in the market for a long while. The merchants were abuzz with excitement once again. Under the watchful eyes of the reporters, Mau verified the documents and paid the merchants, perfectly resolving the Monster Federation's financial crisis. Some merchants who realized the change in situations expressed their satisfaction with this collaboration and hoped for more future cooperations. However, Rimuru politely declined their offers. Seeing Rimuru's smiling face, the merchants were left in awe. Even Rimuru's subordinates couldn't catch up with this action. Only Diablo seemed to see through everything, maintaining a pleased grin. After a moment of silence, the merchants protested, questioning why, despite the Monster Federation being able to pay, the trust wasn't the issue anymore to continue their collaboration. Rimuru firmly stated that trust should be built on mutual respect. For a couple of days, Mau had proposed various solutions which were declined by the merchants, citing the unreliability of monsters. Given this, Rimuru saw no reason to trust them further. From that day, the Monster Federation wouldn't recognize any business dealings with those merchants. Rimuru's words left them speechless. Hearing all this, Duke Muse turned pale as he realized the plan had failed completely. He desperately tried to explain, but it was too late. Rimuru's words also hinted at another objective: to weaken Duke Muse, a puppet of the true mastermind, and draw out the real enemy. As such, Duke Muse had outlived his usefulness. Rimuru told Muse and the merchants that there might have been misunderstandings, but Tempest's role as a major economic hub was an undeniable fact. Rimuru made it clear that Duke Muse's failure was inevitable. Duke Muse's eyes darted around, his face growing paler, contemplating his fate. The merchants looked defeated. Without another word, Rimuru patted Mau on the shoulder, entrusting the subsequent matters to him, and departed, leaving behind the despondent Duke Muse. After the meeting, the dejected Duke Muse staggered along. He realized that he stood no chance against Demon Lord Rimuru. His grand plan of currying favor with Rimuru to control him now seemed utterly foolish. Fearing the wrath of the 5 elders above him for failing this crucial mission and severing ties with the Monster Federation, he worried not just for his finances but his very life. Even the merchants present couldn't escape scrutiny. Emerging from Rimuru's shadow was a strikingly handsome butler who meticulously listed every individual's background, name, goods, and their costs. With their trade secrets laid bare, perhaps their futures in their own homelands had become untenable. For Muse, apart from delivering truthful reports, he had no other choices. No matter where one might be in this world, one couldn't escape the watchful gaze of the Rosso family. In my opinion, Duke Muse brought readers on a roller coaster of emotions. Experiencing his transition from a confident diplomat, anchored by the support of the powerful Rosso family, to a desperate player in the grander scheme was both thrilling and heart-wrenching. His initial poise and meticulous planning gradually gave way to a raw vulnerability, driving home the unpredictable nature of power games and the risks of unchecked ambition. By the end of the narrative, it was clear to me that Duke Muse was more than just a character. He stood as a reflection of Rimuru's immense stature and influence. In a world where influence is transient and allegiances can shift, Duke Muse's journey underscored the unmatched greatness of Rimuru and the volatility of power dynamics in a complex world. Now let's turn our gaze into a castle. A young girl named Maria Belle Rosso informed her grandfather that, as she predicted, Muse had failed. Her grandfather, Grand Bel Rosso, the leader of the Rosso family and the chief of the 5 elders, was the mastermind behind the conspiracy of 7 luminaries. Grand Bel regretfully mentioned that if he had let his granddaughter, Maria Belle, handle the situation, Rosso family wouldn't have faced failure. Initially, Grand Bel hoped to lure Rimuru into the Western Council and control him. But now, he believed they should have used their full power from the start. Still, with Maria Belle by his side, he was confident they wouldn't fail. Grand Bel looked lovingly at his young granddaughter, believing in her. Mariabelle then declared it was her time to step in, promising success. She, greed, wanted everything and was determined to grasp it all, believing the world belonged to the Rosso family. Granbelle smiled, patting Mariabelle's head, and then Greed took her leave. This scene set stage for the Tensura Volume 10. That's all for this video. Up next, we'll be reviewing the Tensura Volume 10. If you enjoyed this video, please like, follow, and share. See you in the next one.